Get ready for a head-to-head battle between shark and octopus. This is our review of Kelp.
Kelp is an asymmetrical game about a shark hunting an octopus, and I thought the game really let me get in the mindset of a shark or an octopus, depending on who I was playing.
The asymmetry offers up some very interesting gameplay mechanics. However, I still feel it's kind of unbalanced, leading towards the shark. We'll tell you all about it after this quick how to play.
Kelp is an asymmetrical game, with the shark and octopus players having very different actions to perform during the game.
The octopus is just trying to survive using a deck building and hidden tile mechanic to go after its food.
The shark is trying to find and attack the octopus by using a bag building mechanic with dice rolling.
The octopus plays cards to rearrange hidden tiles that contain shells, traps, food, or the octopus itself.
The shark's dice allow it to move faster with tides, search and reveal tiles, or strike a tile.
If the shark strikes an octopus tile, there's a 3-card showdown confrontation where both players play a card.
If the cards match, the shark wins. If not, the game continues, eliminating the octopus's chosen card for the next confrontation.
If the shark wins a confrontation, the shark player wins. If the octopus eats all of its food or the shark drains all of its energy, the octopus player wins. Before you go off swimming in search of sharks and octopus, go ahead and strike that like and subscribe button.
All your likes and subscribes really help our channel make a big splash, so thank you.
So Kelp, shark versus octopus, it's a 2-player asymmetric game. One player has deck building, one player has bag building, but it's bag building with dice. I like the concept that you have 2 players with different mechanics going after each other. I like deck building, I like bag building. I don't like dice rolling, so I didn't really like that the bag building was you were building it with dice and then you ended up having to roll the dice. And you can really only choose 2 or maybe 3 dice at a time. I do feel that with that luck component of the shark, it makes the shark a little bit more overpowered. Yes, statistically, if you played thousands of games, I'm sure it's balanced and it evens out. However, for me, I feel like the dice rolling leans a little bit more towards the shark. Even me, who doesn't like dice rolling, I still feel like that luck component, it can really change the game really quickly. Whereas with the deck building, it's pretty strategic. The octopus has a very strategic goal that it needs to do. When does it learn its cards? When does it move its tiles? When does it reveal itself to eat its food? All of these things are very strategic, whereas the shark is just rolling dice, luck of the draw, which cards are available, moving around, luck of the, ooh, I'm going to strike that one. And yes, it's kind of a memory game after some things are revealed and then shaken up. But for the most part, there's a lot of luck. And if that luck always leans towards the shark, I feel like the shark is a little bit too strong. At the same time, there could be some games when the shark just really sucks, but I feel more often than not, the shark is always going to lean more towards being too strong because it just needs a little bit of that luck and it can win, whereas the octopus always has to be strategic.
So in terms of the production value of the game contents, I really enjoyed and loved everything about this. The artwork's great on the board, on the cards, even the little miniatures you have. And then there's just the different pieces. You have different colored dice, these little tiles with different little symbols on them. It's all a little bit different, and it did really help the feel of the 2-player game being, okay, I'm an octopus, you're a shark, versus other 2-player tug-of-war battle games. It's like, all right, we got the same thing. The luck component is you got a different set of cards I have, or you have a different starting tile than I have. I like how the learning curve of it. The shark, I feel, I agree with you. The shark does seem a little bit easier in terms of learning curve because you're just pulling dice, setting them, use it to buy things, or, just like, do I want to strike this tile? That can get a little bit dangerous because striking the tile, you have to give up dice now and you're using up a finite amount of moves. However, I did feel it was not as risky, some of the moves you were doing. Like, you had to be a little bit sure, at least 50-50 if you were going to strike a tile, or at least that's what I was trying. A lot of what I was doing as a shark was just like, all right, 1 in 3 chance, and then 1 in 3 chance with the confrontation card. So trying to do those odds out in my head is like poker or, just blackjack. You're like, okay, I like those odds. I still have a lot more moves left. Let's do it.
The luck that's involved on the cards that you can get for the shark favor the shark a lot more. Currently set up, yeah, we're not looking at any strike dice. So this particular setup wouldn't be that even for the shark. The shark would still have to keep drawing more cards, spending more dice in order to get strike dice that can go in here that they can pull in order to even go after the octopus. However, I feel like getting the food onto the board, getting the cards into your deck, having your hand limit, even if you go from 4 to 5 using that special food tile, it's still, you're only going to have 2 actions each turn. You're always flipping the tiles down to play cards. Getting all the food for the octopus is so much more difficult than cycling through these cards by spending the dice. Yes, every time you buy a card, you're increasing the speed at which the game's going to end because you may get to your 7 dice limit before you drain all your energy as a shark. But I still feel like it's a lot easier to get those dice, put them in here, find the octopus, and strike. Really the only time that it's kind of even, and it's still luck-based, but you kind of have that bluffing luck, is the confrontation. So what happens in the confrontation is the shark will take their cards, and the octopus will take their cards. You're like, okay, I'm going to choose this one. And you play it face down, and the octopus picks one, and then you reveal, and then it's blue and blue, so you win. But because it could be strategic, you could have had that bluffing element. The octopus cards does give it powers if it survives a confrontation. So you're like, what confrontation card would Lee draw this time? I think I'm going to go with the counter flight, and you can do it that way. That's the only time where I feel like the luck is balanced in both, and then it is a bluffing kind of thing. Otherwise, the luck of the dice draw is easier than the strategic nature of the deck building for the octopus.
Yeah, these do give you a little bit like, okay, if Lee was in this scenario, I think he would choose this. So then it becomes one of those like, well, I know he knows that if I was a, so.
But does he know that I know that he knows?
Yeah, do I really choose it? Like, or maybe I choose this, but then he'll know that's my second best one. So he'll choose that knowing that it's just, you can keep endlessly doing that.
Now, there are expansions to it, very small expansions that we got with the Kickstarter. It's called the Brilliant Behaviors expansions. And the expansions add a couple different elements that do change up the game, either making it more difficult for the shark, more difficult for the octopus, or kind of a mix of both. But those really do change up the gameplay enough that I think that it would be worth it to get the expansion and really mix it up. Especially if you enjoy this game, you're like, oh, I really want to mix up the game a little bit. There is another side of the board, the dark side of the board for the nighttime, that has a little bit different rearranging of the cost to reveal tiles. But other than that, it's not too different. But the mini expansions, while small and only a small box, there's 5 or 6 in here, you can really change up the gameplay and really make it a lot more difficult for the shark to accomplish some of its goals, which I think makes it a much more even play when you consider the amount of luck that the shark has.
Yeah, and in playing those expansions, you can still kind of see how they fit with the theming too, right? There's like urchins that do something, there's jellyfish, there's like a coconut. So it does mesh well together with the main game too. It's not just like a willy-nilly add-on. So I also like how they incorporated that in there. So this is probably going to be a very specific or personal thing that I like, but playing as the shark, I liked the people reading aspect of this, because I could see as you're looking at these tiles and I'm trying to guess by your facial expressions, like, was that the one the shark? Like, oh, or like he's trying to hide. It's like, that's not the shark. So mentally, like internally, I'm like, oh, just tracking like your expressions or what you're doing. It's like, oh, he exhaled there. Like, but that's me. I just like people reading or body language or stuff like that.
I really like the concept of the game where you have those asymmetric abilities between both of the players, or even more players. We haven't really played Root yet, but I know Root's like that too. But I really do like that, okay, well, this player is doing this player is doing that. You're still playing each other, but you're doing drastically different things. It's not just, oh, we're taking different actions and we're doing different things, but overall we're basically doing the same thing. This one, the shark is literally doing different things. You're building your bag, drawing dice, and then trying to find the tile. The octopus is building up its deck, playing cards, and trying to eat all of its food. What did you not like about the game?
So in terms of octopus versus shark, I feel like the shark is very intuitive on how to play. The octopus, while I think there's more depth to it, playing those first few times, you're like, I don't know. I didn't have as much fun just like swimming around being the shark. So I think the learning curve of the octopus kind of, I don't know.
The thing that I didn't like is after the confrontation, if you're the octopus and you're able to survive, it's not a good enough way to reshuffle the tiles. Some of the confrontation cards for the octopus will let you shuffle up the tile, will let you mix it around a little bit. But I feel like after a confrontation, you should have to set up all the tiles, basically a hard reset for the octopus. That would help even it out a little bit and kind of even out the shark's luck factor.
Overall, I don't think I'd buy it myself, but I would play this again, so like a BGG score of 5 or 6. The reason being, with a 2-player game, you'd have to sit there. If you want to play with a new person, you gotta like teach it to them, and then they have to both like learn what both people are doing again. I do like that there's depth to the Octopus, and that like itch in my brain that makes me want to try to improve is why I'd play this again. Like, okay, I haven't mastered the Octopus yet. I definitely haven't mastered it, but there's still room. That being said, production value is great. All the pieces you get, I really loved how both players did something completely different, and you had a fairly good understanding of what the other person, their goal was and what their abilities were. However, there was enough difference that it's like, okay, let me think of this, like my own strategy that makes this game unique, looking at it from this side versus looking at it from this side. And physically, it's different looking at it from that side and looking at it from this side.
Overall, I did find a lot about this game that I really enjoyed, so I would definitely play it again. If I was giving it a BGG score, I'd probably give it a 6 because I really like the concepts and the ideas that they were trying to do with the asymmetry of the two. I do think that the expansions already help make it a lot more even, and I would definitely recommend playing with some of the expansions, especially the ones that make the shark a little bit more difficult. I do feel that there's a lot here that I still want to explore, and like I kind of alluded to, probably if you play it enough, that luck evens out and it probably becomes like a 50-50 game in terms of balance. We just haven't gotten there yet. We are just playing the easier shark, so maybe we only feel like it's unbalanced. So kind of do want to see if it really is unbalanced or if it really is, no, the shark is definitely easier, but if you add the expansions, it makes it a lot better. And that was our review of Kelp.
What'd you think? Does this game strike your fancy? Let us know in the comments below.
And as always, if you're enjoying our content, please like this video, subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
And I'm Kenny. I go party like a board gamer.